Hi, this is Tim Jones. I'm the composer for Chuck, and you're listening to Chuck versus the Podcast.
Hi, my name is Graham Jones, but you can call me Gray. This is my show. It's about Chuck. It's filled with interviews, the latest news, crazy co-hosts, and spoilers that'll make your day. Oh, wait, I need to go back. I host these TV nights. They used to be pretty boring, but everything changed when I found NBC's new show, Chuck. Pretty soon, my TV night got pretty crowded. Guys I didn't even know were showing up the door. Big important guys. Really scary, nasty, get killed for hosting them guys. Next thing I know, these super episodes are downloaded into my brain, which means every moment of my life, I'm thinking about Chuck. ChuckTV.net sent their top people to protect me. That's Mel and Liz. They're pretty zany. They co-host with me now as a cover. So now I must welcome you to Chuck versus the Podcast, the first and only podcast for NBC's Chuck. This is Gray.
This is Mel.
And Liz.
And you're listening to Chuck versus the Podcast, episode 2 for January 30th, 2008. Definitely want to welcome our co-hosts today, Mel and Liz. How you guys doing?
Not so bad. How's yourself, Gray? I hope you're over that head cold.
I'm not quite over it, but doing great.
And this is Mel. I'm doing pretty good here in Kansas.
We've got a great episode for you today. I'm really excited because we have an interview today with Tim Jones, the music composer for Chuck. And as all of us who appreciate the show, we know that music is an incredibly important part of the show. So you're going to love the interview. We are blown away by the response that we've had so far. In less than 7 days, we've had over 2,200 people come to the chuckpodcast.com site, and incredibly, at Podcast Alley, out of 37,000 podcasts, at last check, we're listed as number 64. In the TV and film category, we were number 7 out of over 1,000 podcasts. I want to thank everybody for your votes and comments.
That's amazing.
People love Chuck, and we're grateful for the votes. Actually, if you could even vote now as you hear this podcast, we need about 7 more votes to make the top 50. And if we had 7 more votes, that would actually get us into the top 5 TV and film podcasts. And of course, the reason we want that is so that more people know about Chuck. This is all for the purpose of building the ratings and helping our favorite show be on for a long time.
Absolutely. You guys are doing a great job. Woohoo!
Hey, everybody out there in TV land. I'm Zachary Levi, and we here collectively are the cast of Chuck. Welcome to our Chuck sandwich.
Is there a good reason why we're all huddled so closely together, huh?
Well, yes, there is. Television's Adam Baldwin. Thank you for asking. You see, most people don't have widescreen televisions, so we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to see all 6 of us.
I really feel like this is unnecessarily close.
I'm good.
Yeah, this does seem very close.
Well, look, everyone, I'm sorry, but this came straight from the network, okay? So, please, you out there, sit back, relax, and please enjoy 2 all-new episodes of Chuck with a little apprentice in the middle.
This is not awesome.
No, it's totally awesome. It really is.
This is really awesome.
See, Josh knows what I'm talking about.
And what do you guys think about the sandwich on Thursday night?
You know, a part of me just loved that we got 2 new episodes in one night. I was just, in Chuck heaven. But another part of me was kind of sad that it was knowing that, now it's over until the strike's over. So,
Yeah, it was. But it was fun. I would rather have had, instead of a sandwich, just the back-to-back episodes personally.
yeah, me too. I had to find something else to do for an hour.
That's right.
I, of course, watched them back-to-back in Canada, but...
Yes, well, whatever.
Yeah, all right, just hoard it over us, Gray.
Yeah, but I did actually tape the NBC feed on Thursday night because I wanted to see all the cast segments, and I admit those were worth the wait.
They really were. They were funny. And we actually have all of the segments together on chucktv.net, where you can just go and watch. It's about 3 minutes long, all the segments in a row.
And we'll feature them, a few of them on the show. I was most interested by the very last one.
You know, a lot of people ask us, are you guys close as a cast?
Well, that's because it looks like we have so much fun on the show.
And we do have a lot of fun on the show.
As my character would say, it's awesome. Yeah, but it's not like we're inseparable.
We have our own interests and hobbies.
Hey, does anybody want some food from craft service? You know, I thought I saw a tiny little, turkey sandwiches. Hey, thanks for joining us. Look for us here on NBC for all new episodes of Chuck.
Yes. Coming soon. All new Chuck.
Yeah, that was great to hear.
All new Chuck coming soon. Now, what do you guys think that means?
I think it's a show of support from NBC saying, yes, we did give it a full season pickup, and we know that the writer's strike is interrupting the season, but don't worry, we're still committed to the show, and we will be bringing it back.
Very interestingly, Zach was interviewed recently by Bullseye.com, And he said something that we think ties in with this coming soon. Mel, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, he was quoted as saying that they actually have 2 more scripts already written and ready to be shot as soon as the strike is over, which of course has the fans all excited. I just want to caution everyone and say this is the first time we've heard that there are any more scripts already written. So while it would be great and it would mean that as soon as the strike is over, they can immediately, get geared up for production again, and they won't have that delay that a lot of the other shows will have. I do wonder if it's perhaps a miscommunication. So while it would be great, don't take it at 100% right now. We're trying to get confirmation.
Now, some of you may be wondering, and actually I've seen it on the NBC boards, people asking, well, if they have 2 scripts ready, why don't they go and shoot them? You may not realize that the writer's strike actually means that they can't change a single word of dialogue in a script. So if one of the scripts isn't 100% ready to go shoot, they're not going to go ahead and shoot it. And also they have to deal with things like the availability of the cast. Some of them have other movies that they're involved in. Say, for instance, Zachary Levi has actually produced a movie that's coming out this month. Mel, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. The movie is called Spiral, and it's going to have a limited release on February the 8th. And you can go to www.spiralthemovie.com to get information about exactly where it is going to be showing. But if you don't live in one of those limited theatrical release markets, just hang on for a few more days. The DVD is coming out on February 19th.
The places that is going to be released are New York, LA, Portland, and Austin, Texas.
I believe that's correct, yes.
I wish Toronto was on the list.
If you live in one of those areas, check your local show times and check it out.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit more about the movie?
Sure. It stars Joel David Moore, who is one of Zach's very best friends and also partner in the production company. He plays Mason. The official synopsis for the movie is that Mason is never truly noticed by anyone save his boss, Berkeley, who's played by Zach. Not quite a friend, but a sole source of companionship in an otherwise isolated existence. That is, until he meets a gregarious coworker named Amber, played by Amber Tamblyn, a girl struggling with her own loneliness and need to define herself. Amber's jovial demeanor and seemingly carefree attitude provides a sort of catharsis for Mason and allows his true gifts to come to light as she poses for his art. It is an unlikely and unusual courtship that helps Mason find peace for possibly the first time in his life. But as Mason's defense is lower and the man inside is revealed, there may be something behind the surface darker than anyone expected. For not everything that is hidden should be found, and not every love is meant to be, and you can't paint over your past. Sounds pretty deep.
Ooh, sounds pretty scary.
So this sounds like it's going to be more of a serious role for Zach, huh?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and actually it's a thriller. I should get a discount in thrillers because I only see about half of the movie. I have my hands over my eyes for the other half.
Same here.
Yeah, me too. Well, we know that Zach has the potential for something deeper than just comedy, although I've only seen him in comedic roles. But Chuck has offered the opportunity for us to see what Zach can do in a role like that.
Yeah, I think so. He's mentioned in a few interviews that he really likes playing the role of Chuck because the character is very similar to Zach himself, but it also allows him to kind of explore some different things and show his acting range.
Can't wait to see it. And you can definitely support them by going to see it and buying the DVD or at least renting it.
That's right.
Now, moving right along, some people have been asking how we do the podcast. A common question has been the fact that Mel is in Kansas and Liz is in Chicago and I'm up in Toronto. How did we get together and just physically how we can do it? For myself, I just had the idea of doing the podcast for Chuck over the holidays. I was looking around for a podcast to listen to and I couldn't find one. So I thought, well, let me start one. So I emailed Mel and Liz.
Begging us.
Well, how I found them was I looked around to see what were the coolest fan sites, and I thought theirs was the coolest fan site, and emailed them just to see if they were interested, and of course they were. Why don't you share from your end?
Well, I was actually on break. I work at a university, and we get that whole week between Christmas and New Year's off. So I was home just, piddling around a little bit on my laptop and get this email from some guy up in Canada who wondered if we'd be interested in doing a podcast. And my first question was, okay, so what's a podcast? So he kind of had to walk me through that a little bit. Fortunately, Liz has more experience with listening to podcasts, and so she was able to answer some of my questions about that too. So, we talked about it and thought, yeah, this would be a really neat thing to add to our site. We have the recaps and the music and the pictures and all the stuff, but a podcast would be a really neat way to allow the fans to be a little more interactive. and just, another format for us to talk about the show and promote the show. So we were all about that. So we thought, yeah, this would be cool. And we were planning to, I believe, weren't we planning to launch our first podcast in February?
Mm-hmm.
Because we thought that NBC would probably hold the last 2 episodes of Chuck for sweeps. And then we found out, oh no, they're airing both of them in a big event on January 24th. And so there was some scrambling involved, and there was our first episode.
A lot of the scrambling had to do with just the technical details of how to do this. Initially, we thought that only 2 of us were going to be able to do it at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And we found some internet services that could tape conferences, and we really weren't happy with the recording quality that we got. And so we settled on Skype, which allows us to have not only 3, but we could have as many people as we wanted in on the call. We plan on doing some conferences with the cast later on. And I record myself. You'll notice I sound a little different in my studio up in Toronto. And then we record Mel and Liz from Skype, and it's great.
Yeah, Skype actually seems to be quite the answer to this. It allows us 3 people in very different locations to get together and talk about our favorite show. So that's really cool.
Skype also allows us to plan some really fun things for the future for this podcast. So stay tuned. Don't go away. Keep coming back and checking in on us.
Mel, do you have any new strike news?
I do have just a couple of things. They are, the Writers Guild and the networks are back in talks. Kind of some preliminary, they call them informal talks, but they are laying the groundwork for hammering out a new deal. And so far, they're in a media blackout, so there's not a lot coming out, but what is coming out is, I would say, cautiously optimistic. It looks like both sides feel like they're making a little bit of progress, but neither side is ready to say, we have a deal. It's looking like we may be near the end, but that could change, of course.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly. In other news, NBC just announced that they are doing away with pilot season altogether, partially because of the costs due to the writers' strike, and then also they're citing the slowdown in the economy. Jeff Zucker, who's the chief executive officer of NBC Universal, says that cutting pilot season will save the company about $50 million. And of course, pilot season this year is pretty much out the window because of the writer's strike, because they don't have scripts to produce pilots for, to see if they want to pick up those shows for next season. So on the one hand, it's kind of too bad that the deal hasn't been made in time for new shows to kind of get off the starting block. But on the other hand, that means that it's much more likely